This week's Parsha is the Parsha Bamidbar. We begin to learn not only the Bamidbar, but also the new Sefer, new book in the Torah, the fourth Sefer called Bamidbar. And actually, the English translation of Bamidbar is usually not referred to the literal translation. What the literal translation of Bamidbar means in the desert. But rather, it's known as the Book of Numbers. The Book of Numbers. Now, why is it called the Book of Numbers? And that's because the beginning of Bamidbar talks about the census of the Jewish people. Hashem tells Moshe to count the Jewish people again. And I said it again because they already had been counted shortly after they left Egypt. Rashi says over here, Mitochi basan lefanav, because they were so affectionate in front of Hashem. Mono asam kol shah, he would always count them. They were counted when they left Egypt. They were counted after the story of the golden calf, and now once again they were counted at a later point. And the question we have to ask ourselves is, what's the idea of this count and how Hashem relates to each and every single person? It's interesting, the Jewish people, when it comes to them being counted, they're referred to as numerous as the stars and as numerous as the sand. Now, which one is it? Is it the stars and the sand? And what's the idea? So I believe it's the Chasam Sofer that has the following fascinating insight. He says that each star in of itself is a world unto its own. The light of each star can shine for millions of miles, potentially. And in fact, even in the vernacular in English, we say that we say, for example, that person is a star. Or sometimes we may say, that person is a superstar. And the idea we're trying to communicate is that person, his or her capabilities, is really, really special. And then we have the idea of the sand. What's the idea of the sand? The idea of the sand is there's a small grain of sand. How large or small is it? Very, very small. You can't even tell that it's there, even if it's in your finger. But the grain of sand that's next to a grain of sand, that's next to another grain of sand, that's next to another grain of sand, and you add them all together, that can stop the oceans from flooding the earth. And that's to teach us that profound idea that each and every one of us by ourselves is not as significant as opposed to when we're all standing together. So what are we? Are we stars or are we sand? And the answer is we're both. On the one hand, we have to remember that each and every single person is a world unto their own. They can shine a light into the world with their own koach, with their own power, with their own potential. And at the same time, we have to remember that each and one of us is just like a grain of sand. That we all need each other. We need to lean on someone else. Because if we're just going to be by ourselves, we can get flooded by external forces. And just like the sand is able to stop the powerful forces from flooding the earth only by one grain standing with another grain and standing with another grain, so too that is our destiny as well. So let us reflect as we are now just on the cusp of Shavuos. Shavuos is a time when we not only commemorate the giving of the Torah, but we actually relive that experience. And it's a time for us to once again revisit our identities of what it means to be a Jewish person. On the one hand, we have tremendous talents and capabilities, each one of us. On the other hand, we always have to remember that we all need each other. We're all like the grains of sand in order to fill our destiny in the world. Have a wonderful Shabbos.